Okay, here we go for my game 6 of Call to War. Last game, after having just pulled off a minor win against James, I really needed a big win here to finish off my tournament quite nicely. So the draw went up, and I was up against Richard Chiazecco. Rich, I'm sorry if you watch this, I still don't know how to pronounce your name. The good thing about this is we've played each other now. This is 3 tournaments, I think 3 big tournaments in a row for me where I've played Rich. His Dark Elves beat me at Thorhammer back in February, I think it was. Then he schooled me with his Warriors of Chaos at the South Coast, and this was my rematch. So, not a great track record against him, but by his own admission, this was a lot softer than it usually is. So we go. On the far left, he has a unit of Tzeentch Knights, then a level 2 on disc with Law of Tzeentch, a unit of Nurgle Knights with his BSB in there, and so BSB on the far right of that unit, and a level 2 on Nurgle. Mine his Lord on disc with a 3-up ward. Next to that, a unit of Nurgle warriors, and then a unit of Tzeentch warriors. My deployment on my far right, I have the Dryads, unit of archers, Treekin, big unit of archers with the Beast Mage in there. Next to that, a Treeman, War Dancers, a small unit with both the BSB and the level 4 in life in there, unit of Glade Guard, the Dryads, and on my far left, the last Treeman. So, Rich gets first turn and just pushes everything forward really. His magic doesn't get much done. My turn, I push up the Treeman on the left, basically try and bait some knights into the wood, and the War Dancers go out. Basically, I couldn't really see what they're going to do. They're just there to be an expensive speed bump / redirector / go in with 10 killing blow attacks on his knights. If he charges me, might pick 1 or 2 off. And the Eagle's there to redirect his other knight unit. And the rest of my troops stay pretty much where they are, except that the big unit with the Beast Mage goes into the building. So his turn, he charges the knights into the War Dancers, the other unit of knights into the Eagle, and he pushes his Lord up to here. So he hasn't really committed the Lord yet, but basically I think he wants a Treeman versus Lord off, and I wasn't too sure about this. So that's how he's pushing up with those. Now, in his magic phase, I think he nabbed a couple of wounds off with a spell on my Treeman. His units of knights went straight through the redirects I put in front of them, unsurprisingly, and this is where they end up. So I ummed and ahed about this for a long time, and then Rich just pointed out, it's the last game, we're on table 33 out of 50 odd. It wasn't much of it, so I just charged the Treeman in, thinking, whatever, we'll see what happens, just make this into a bit of a fun game. And he's pushing up his knights towards here. So here we go. I've pushed my Treeman up to try and go and take care of stuff. Treekin are there feeling a little bit nervous at the moment. But I've got lots of archer shots about to go off. And I actually managed to pick off a couple of Chaos Knights with some short range shooting. So yeah. Rich was kind enough to fail a couple of 1-up saves for me. Unlike Brian back in game 3. So here we go. He's got another unit of knights bearing down on that poor unit of archers there, and my BSB and level 4 have got out of the way. So here we go. In his turn, so that combat there on the left between the Lord and the Treeman goes on for a while, basically because I'm able to get off Flesh to Stone a couple of times, which is kind of handy. He gets the flank charge with his warriors on my Treeman, because he charged his knights into the front of the Treekin. And I picked off a couple of knights with some shooting there from that unit as well. So this is how the board is looking. So that Treeman there survives his first round against, luckily he wasn't going to kill him in one go, doesn't have the flaming banner. They've got the frenzy banner instead. So I have my general and the BSB nearby, so that thing shouldn't be going anywhere. And in this combat on the right, after charging in, he dimensionally cascaded his Nurgle mage, taking off a couple more knights and sucking himself into the warp, and I only suffered a couple of wounds on that one in return, which was kind of handy, really. Helped me out a lot. So that combat grinds on. He takes off a couple of mine. I'm grinding him down. Basically, the BSB is doing a lot here, but he holds. And you can see on the left, the tree man, because he's stubborn, was just able to reface and form the Nurgle warriors and just start grinding them out. And on the left, that combat there is still going, and his knights cleared up. They cleared up that unit of archers quite nicely, and then I've turned around to face the rest of my army. So I put the Dryads there to redirect the knights. You know, the tree man's just fighting along. And that combat there's still going. He's not really committing to much with his other warrior block. So here we go. That combat there's still going on. The mighty tree man against the Lord on the disc. The Lord just kept falling off the disc, so Rich just doesn't put him on there anymore. But there we are. The combination of flesh sown and being able to regrowth the tree man now and then is just keeping him in that fight. And here we go. So I get a combat phase where you can see the card there. I get Wissen's Wild Form off on the Treekin and wipe out his unit. And there we are. That's Nick looking very, very proud. Very proud man. Yay, Treekin killed something. Yay. And this is the centre. So he's charged in there with his knights, and that combat there between the warriors and the tree man is just grinding away. So in the combat phase, I think my Dryads flee. But he decides not to pursue them. I only fled 2, I think, which is why they're still so close. But they're actually running away, and he turns to face this lot. This is on the right. I charge my Treekin into his warriors back on the right here, and with wild form on, they're just still. I'm still just getting wild form off on them, and they really do go to town on most things. So I've bailed my 2 mages out of that unit. Keep them out of line of sight. We're getting towards the end of the game here, and my unit of archers backs away so as to not give him easy overruns with the knights or anything into the tree man. And my Treekin again just wipe the warriors out completely. The toughness 6 really helps as well as the strength 6, but you know, going from 3s to wound to 2s to wound, and especially going from 5 to be wounded by the warriors to a 6 is incredible. So here I'm sorry for the blurry picture, but so his lord charges into the rear of my tree man. I think I'd already, I think this turn I still managed to win combat, and his 3 remaining warriors flee, but they only flee a little bit. They don't go very far. So my tree man is stuck now in combat with his other lord, who's going to get ready to chew him up. Sorry, I forgot to mention that, you know, there was a picture early on when I bailed out my characters that the Lord had actually managed to kill off the tree man. So here you go, but unfortunately for those warriors, they're facing into a crescent of the best part of 50 shots of Glade Guard. Probably 40 at this point, but still not a pleasant experience for anyone. So back in my turn, I managed to actually Dwellers off his mage, who's chilling out there, which was a nice little touch. I only managed to shoot off 2 of the Chaos Warriors, but he charges in, and I get him in combat. I actually kill him outright in combat, which is nice. I was kind of happy with that. So, that's how the game ends. The Lord doesn't kill that other tree man. We're just hitting away at each other. And if I remember correctly, we toted it all up. It was pretty clear I'd had a victory. I think halfway through, Rich was kind of like, I think he was pretty disappointed being where he was in Game 6, so his heart wasn't really in it. But yeah, I mean, what you're going to do. I got lucky in this game. He had a bit of bad luck, so I managed to pull out the 14-6, I think, I won. Which was nice to finally get a win against him, but Rich is a very, very nice guy. I couldn't have asked for a nicer opponent for the last round, really. You know, because Game 6 on day 2, people are generally very tired, nerves are running a bit thin, but, you know, managed to keep it as a really fun game. So there we are, that was my game 6, and I will see you for the summary in a bit.